morning sun streamed through the small cracks in the curtains, painting golden patterns on the walls. James sat on the edge of his bed, shoulders slumped, lost in thought. Life had not been kind to him lately. His business had failed, his relationships were strained, and every morning felt heavier than the last. He had spent years chasing success, believing that happiness would follow, but now, with nothing left, he questioned if he had ever truly lived. One morning, as he aimlessly scrolled through his phone, he stumbled upon a story, a tale of a man who had lost everything but found joy in the smallest things. The words echoed in his mind. Gratitude is not about having more. It's about appreciating what you already have. Something inside him shifted. Could it be that he had been looking at life all wrong? Determined to try something new, James grabbed an old notebook and scribbled a simple sentence. Today, I am grateful for. He paused, struggling to find the words. But then, a thought surfaced. The sunlight pouring into the room. It was small, but it was something. And so, his journey began. James didn't expect much from his small gratitude practice. It felt almost silly at first, but the next morning, he sat down again with his notebook. Today, I am grateful for, he wrote, staring at the blank page. He thought about the warmth of his morning coffee, the soft breeze through the window, and the fact that, despite everything, he was still here, still breathing, still trying. Day by day, his list grew longer. He began noticing things he had overlooked before. The kindness of a stranger who held the door for him, the laughter of a child on the street, the way the sky turned shades of pink at sunset. These weren't grand victories, but they were moments, pieces of life he had been too blind to appreciate. As the days passed, something remarkable happened. The heaviness in his chest began to lift. The failures that once defined him felt less suffocating. He started to realize that success wasn't just about achievements or wealth. It was about perspective. And for the first time in a long while, he felt a spark of hope. James's newfound habit of gratitude began to reshape his world in ways he never expected. He started each morning with his simple ritual, but now it no longer felt like an effort. It felt like a gift. His mind, once clouded with negativity, now sought out the good in every moment. One day, while grabbing coffee at his usual cafe, he noticed the barista looked exhausted. Instead of mindlessly taking his drink and leaving, he smiled and said, "I really appreciate how hard you work. You make the best coffee in town." The woman's face lit up, her fatigue momentarily forgotten. That moment stuck with him. Could gratitude not only change his life, but also those around him? He began to express appreciation openly, thanking his old mentor for believing in him, calling his mother just to tell her he loved her, and acknowledging the efforts of colleagues he once took for granted. Each time he did, something amazing happened. Smiles became more frequent. Conversations felt richer. The world, which had once seemed cold and indifferent, now felt warm and full of possibility. As James embraced gratitude, he noticed a profound shift, not just in his emotions, but in his ability to handle challenges. Life still threw obstacles his way, but now, instead of seeing them as roadblocks, he viewed them as lessons. When an unexpected bill arrived, he resisted the old habit of frustration. Instead, he reminded himself, "I have the ability to earn and figure things out." When a job interview didn't go as planned, he wrote in his journal, "I'm grateful for the experience and the lessons I learned. Something better is coming." One evening, he sat across from an old friend who asked, "James, what changed? You used to be so stressed all the time." James smiled and replied, "I stopped focusing on what I lost and started appreciating what I have. And somehow, life started giving me more." The challenges that once crushed him now felt like stepping stones. He realized that gratitude didn't mean ignoring difficulties. It meant facing them with a new perspective, one that turned struggles into opportunities for growth. James had spent years chasing success, believing it was something external, a title, a bank balance, a milestone. But through his journey of gratitude, he discovered something profound. Success wasn't about what he had, but how he lived. One morning, as he sat with his notebook, he looked at the words he had written. "I am grateful for this moment, for the lessons, for the chance to grow." He no longer needed to search for happiness. It had been within him all along. Opportunities started flowing in. A former colleague reached out with a business proposal, inspired by James's new energy. Relationships that once felt strained grew stronger. Even on difficult days, he found strength in gratitude, knowing that every setback carried a lesson. Standing in front of a group of young entrepreneurs one day, James shared his journey. Success isn't measured by wealth or status. It begins with gratitude. When you appreciate what you have, you create space for even greater things to come. The audience nodded, inspired by his words. As he walked away, James smiled. He had finally found the success he had been searching for, not in achievements, but in a grateful heart.